Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to dive into today's material with you because we're going to tackle a completely universal and honestly pretty terrifying experience. But we're doing it using pure brain science. If you've ever been alone in the dark and felt your heart just jump right into your throat because you swore you saw something lurking in the corner, well, you are exactly in the right place. So let's just jump right into it.
Look, we've all been there, right? You wake up in the middle of the night, the lights are totally off, and suddenly that coat hanging on the back of your door looks exactly like a tall, menacing figure. Why do our eyes seem to play these horrifying tricks on us the second the lights go down? Well, today we're going to reframe that question entirely. We're stepping away from the paranormal, and we're looking at this as a deeply fascinating biological mystery. Sorry to break it to the ghost hunters out there, but the culprit here isn't actually a spirit from the great beyond. It's really just your brain making a guess. You see, the whole premise of our explainer today is that you don't actually see the world exactly as it is. Instead, your vision is essentially just your brain constantly throwing out its best guess based on the limited information it has in that exact moment. So when the lights go out, data is super scarce, and your brain, it just starts guessing wildly. And that's exactly why those frantic guesses almost always take the shape of something creeping up on you. Let's start with Section 1, the face in the shadows. Moving right along to Section 2, how your brain actually sees. To truly understand these quote-unquote ghosts, we first have to completely unpack how your brain actually operates. Get ready, because we're about to shift gears into some core neuroscience, and the biological systems at work here are just incredible. The absolute key to this entire mystery is top-down processing. Basically, this is the brain's method of using your prior knowledge to make a best guess about what it's looking at right now. Think of it kind of like your brain's built-in autocorrect. You know when you type a misspelled word on your phone and the software uses its dictionary to instantly guess what you meant and changes it for you? Well, your visual system does the exact same thing. It takes in raw, fuzzy data from a dark room, consults its biological dictionary of things that might be a threat, and autocorrects that fuzzy shape right into a ghost or an intruder or a face. Let's break down exactly how this edge detection system happens in real time. Step 1, your eyes detect edges in the dark. It's really just a vague outline of that coat on the door. Step 2, your brain instantly applies that top-down knowledge we were just talking about. And step 3, boom, you see a face. The absolutely crucial point here is that your raw visual data is incredibly weak in the dark, so it gets rapidly overridden by your biological programming. As humans, we're highly social, highly paranoid creatures, wired to recognize human features and spot potential threats. Basically, your brain would way rather falsely guess that a shadow is a face, and be wrong, than fail to see a hidden predator and get eaten. That brings us to Section 3, illusions that break reality. So we know your brain is a prediction machine, but just how far does that go? Interestingly, scientists can actually use these exact biological systems to intentionally hack your brain's expectations, and it brilliantly illustrates just how powerful your brain's autocorrect truly is. There's this famous experiment called the hollow face illusion. When you look at the back or the inside of a hollow mask, which is a physically concave shape, caving away from you, your brain's top-down processing just goes into total overdrive. Your brain has a lifetime of prior knowledge telling it that human faces always stick out, right? They're always convex. So what happens? Your top-down processing actively overrides physical reality. It literally forces you to see a protruding convex face, even though your eyes are staring directly at a hollow concave surface. Your brain decides that physical reality makes no sense, so it just hallucinates a reality that does. And it doesn't stop at complex things like faces either. This applies to the most basic building blocks of our vision. In the contrast illusion, our perception of fundamental details, like actual shape and color, is constantly being altered by the background. If you take a gray square and put it on a black background, it looks light. But place that exact same gray square on a white background, and suddenly it looks incredibly dark. The physical reality of the color hasn't changed one bit, but your perception is entirely relative. Your brain is constantly adjusting its best guess based on the surrounding context. Let's wrap this up with Section 4, your hallucinated reality. So if your brain can invent a face on a hollow mask and completely change the color of an object just because of what's sitting next to it, where does that leave us? Well, the data we've walked through leads to a truly mind-bending, paradigm-shifting conclusion. The science demands a massive reframe of what it actually means to be human and awake in this world. Ultimately, human vision is inference rather than sight. I really want you to let that sink in for a second. We tend to think of our eyes as these passive video cameras, just neutrally recording the objective world and feeding it to a little screen in our minds. But that is completely false. Vision is not a passive recording. It is an active, ongoing, relentless inference. It's a highly educated guess.
Here's the truly masterful realization of all this research. First, reality is a hallucination. Everything you see, from the terrifying ghosts in the shadows to the completely mundane everyday objects sitting on your desk right now, is actually a constructed hallucination happening entirely inside the dark, sealed box of your skull. Second, this hallucination is strictly constrained by your biological filters. You only perceive what your specific evolutionary biology actually allows you to perceive. And finally, your entire visual world is based purely on your brain's best guess, heavily influenced by what it expects to see, rather than what's actually there.
We have journeyed all the way from being afraid of the dark to uncovering the staggering mechanics of human perception. But it leaves us with this. If our reality, the very things we are so absolutely certain we see with our own two eyes, is just a biological hallucination, what else is your brain guessing? What other absolute truths in your daily life are really just your top-down processing pulling a fast one on you? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning everything you see.